He was a tester at Infosys and recently switched to a data analyst at Cooper.
Two, I did production engineering. So it was more like कि बस engineering मिल जाए, कोई बीटेक की डिग्री लग जाए, कौन सी ब्रांच क्या होता है, नो आइडिया. जस्ट अ प्रॉपर noob of what to do in life. एवरग्रीन बस बोलने के लिए है, इसमें जॉब नहीं मिलने वाली. सीक्वल पढ़ के टाइम इन्वेस्ट करूं या फिर कोडिंग थोड़ा बहुत सीख के बस प्लेसमेंट ले लूं. Knew nothing about coding. I never knew anything about how things work in IT and all.
90 days of notice period, and you are from a testing background, then
Hierarchy, data analysis is something at a very basic level. Then comes data engineering, and then comes data science. Okay.
hello everyone. Myself Ayush, and I am a software developer at Flipkart. And today we have Daipayan here. He's a college senior from Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, and he was a tester at Infosys and recently switched to a data analyst at Cooper. So, quick intro with DP Bhaiya will go into his preparation strategy and how he applied off campus and how he switched from a service based company to a product based company. So, over to you, DP Bhaiya.
Thank you, Ayush, for calling me. So, first of all, congratulations to you as well. Like, it's a proud senior moment to say that, okay, one of our junior is in Flipkart right now. So, yeah, it's a great feeling. So, yeah, coming to myself, I was someone who was born in West Bengal. Then I came to Gujarat. I completed all my schooling there itself. After that, I went to Pune again. It was a tier 3 college. So, and that too, I did production engineering. So it was more like कि बस engineering मिल जाए, कोई बीटेक की डिग्री लग जाए, कौन सी ब्रांच क्या होता है, no idea. Just a proper noob of what to do in life. So got production engineering branch, feeling happy that okay, I got into a good college because it was quite a reputed college at that time. So when I came to a production engineering branch, the feeling was like I never knew nothing about coding. I never knew anything about how things work in IT and all. I only knew things about how the core industries work, how are the manufacturing industries working. That's the only idea I had. And initial 2 years, I would say like I had a feeling कि कुछ भी हो जाए आईटी कंपनी में तो नहीं जाना है, क्योंकि कोडिंग तो हमसे नहीं हो पाएगी. ठीक है. So that is how initial 2 years went, all focused on was just studying about the branch and just college studies and all that. But soon when you spend so many years with your college mates, with your college seniors, you start to realize the fact that भाई evergreen बस बोलने के लिए है, इसमें जॉब नहीं मिलने वाली. Okay. And coming to my interest, I already knew a bit about SQL and all. I knew a bit about how data thing works during my 11th and 12th school curriculum. So I knew a bit about SQL, but I didn't knew that whether SQL is going to help me in getting a job further ahead or not. So just like everyone, I also jumped into coding. And coding में भी सबसे easy क्या था एक नॉन आईटी ब्रांच के लिए पाइथन. बिकॉज हाँ बस प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट डाला, एक प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट में हेलो वर्ल्ड आ गया, और क्या चाहिए. क्योंकि जावा में तो ऐसा नहीं होता. देन यू सी दो सिंटैक्स एंड यू आर लाइक ओके पाइथन इज गुड. So I started studying about Python, but again, least interest. It was just like कि सब कर रहे हैं तो हम भी कर लेते हैं. But soon when we entered into the third year, COVID came. Okay, so that was the time when I was like, okay, अब तो कुछ करना पड़ेगा. There is only 1 year left for the placements and all. No projects, no experience, no internship. अब तो COVID भी हो गया, तो internship का भी pressure नहीं है. So I was like, कि, what should we do? Then I started digging in, like, what can I do for SQL? Because that was one thing on which I was a bit confident about. Still, I can't say that I was best at it, but yeah, I had better knowledge on that in terms of IT field, and it better than at least coding. So I started digging into that, and then I came in to know about the data analysis role. Okay, but this was the time when now the fourth year has also hit, has now is started, and now you have to get placed. तो अब क्या करूं? सीक्वल पढ़ के टाइम इन्वेस्ट करूं या फिर कोडिंग थोड़ा बहुत सीख के बस प्लेसमेंट ले लूं. Again, the same thing. We don't have time. It's a COVID time. We were not totally not sure about how our careers are going to go ahead, right? So the only thing I thought of was कि जो सब कर रहे हैं वही कर लेते हैं. So I started grasping all the theoretical concepts, whatever I could know. I started to know about Python, List, tuple. Okay, what are the oops concept? I covered all the basics which can help me get a job at least. Okay. And that's how I just sat in the placement. I cleared Infosys and I got the Infosys opportunity. So Infosys was something like कि बस हो गया. It was not something I would say that I prepared a lot or something, but I just got in there. Okay, now the things were getting serious because now I am in the job. I have started preparing there. I was working with the team, and that's when I started to get into testing role. Okay, so what happens in a service-based company is like you won't be asked like what kind of role or what kind of skills you are good at. It's all based upon the project requirements. It all based upon the business requirement. तो जब जिस चीज की डिमांड आएगी आपको उस चीज में मैप कर दिया जाएगा इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ आपको वो आता है आपको वो नहीं आता है because what happens in these big service based companies are the teams are huge and the people working in those teams are highly experienced, so even if you will go in there and even if you don't know a single thing, they will somehow manage you because they are already experienced in that. What matters is the billing of yours. That's what matters to these service based companies. I went into performance testing, which is again where you try to analyze the performance of the banking applications. But again, there was nothing related to SQL, there was nothing related to data. And somehow I managed 1 year out there, like struggling, okay, knowing, okay, कि भाई ऐसे होता है. I tried to know the basics of how IT projects work, how are the deliverables, what is a release, how is a sprint going on. I tried to shift from my testing to a analysis project. But again, the kind of analytics project I wanted from my end was again not there. It was more of a Excel work where they gave us data and I had just had to map the tables accordingly, and so that is how my 2 years went. And then I got serious about it. I started preparing. I gave and started giving interviews, and I got a call from the Uber as my client for which I am working right now. I got in there, and yeah, things got pretty much sorted. That was all about what I did.
Yeah, yeah, nice. That's a lot of things to like understand from that. Let's like break it down into smaller chunks and understand. So, like you said,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
you got placed it in fee as a tester. So, like, was you happy ki, like when you were working as a tester in Infosys and you were not getting any exposure of data? So, like, how are you keeping yourself ki that, yeah, I want to work as a tester, and you were like in the mental state ki just I have to switch somehow. I was just taking Infosys as a just for the sake of placement. Now I want to do what I want. So, was this clarity you had from the starting, or it was when you started working in that company for like 5, 6 months or a year? So, like, how did this happen? It was a instant thing, or it was something which was you came up with some period of time?
Yeah, yeah. So I get it. So like I won't say ki initially only I thought ki I want to shift to data or something. Because again, I didn't had any knowledge about IT, ki how IT works, what are the various line of businesses out there. Okay. So it was more like ki I was trying to understand my current work which they gave me. So that was already something new to me. Okay. So I was trying to understand, okay, how is testing? Can I make out a career out of there? Okay. How is the performance testing particularly on which I was working on? I tried to give it time. I gave it 5, 6 months. I gave it almost an year. And I started having conversation with the teams from my clients end as well. I got to know about them, like how is this career, how can I grow in there, and I started digging from my end as well. I did some research. Okay, but again, dil jahan laga hota hai, you have to go back there only. So so again, I was not feeling that okay, this is not the thing which I can do for a longer run. Okay, so I am not, I would not be saying that testing is a very bad role. There are folks out there who are earning shitload of money in testing because it's their passion and they are liking it. Okay, so that was not something which I liked it because at a point of time I felt it was getting monotonous because once you know what you have to test for every release, it will somehow get monotonous. You will know, okay, this is the requirement, this is the feature. I have to keep on testing this thing again and again, again and again. So that was something which I was not liking. I wanted something new, coming towards me. I wanted to learn something new and all. So that was one factor. So again, coming back, because I liked SQL. So after around giving almost 8, 9 months, I would say, I started practicing again SQL. I started digging my interest, and that's how I was managing. Okay, ki, at last I have to go out there only. That was the main thing.
Okay, got it. So understanding
Yeah.
this thing while you are working a full time at Infosys and you are managing a new skill and understanding the data concept and there are multiple feeds in the data as well. So how was you sure कि you have to go into this? So there is data science, data analytics, data engineering and whatnot. So how you navigated to that a particular direction or you were just trying to do anything in data? So one question is this, and the
Okay.
second thing is how are you managing your time being like you are working full time as a tester in Infosys and then you are preparing for the jobs and you are understanding the concept.
So
So
yeah, so first thing which I will pick up, you asked is like how you were managing. Okay, so I would say this was a blessing in disguise that we were the COVID batch, so we got a lot of work from home opportunity during that time. So I guess I spent almost around 1.5 year doing work from home. Okay, and the best thing about that was, although personally I won't suggest a fresher to choose a work from home thing, because I guess if work from home wouldn't have been there, instead of 2 years, I would have understood what I wanted in 1 year only. Okay. So work from home is one thing personally I feel a fresher should not go towards. But yeah, considering my scenario, since work from home was there, I was a bit lucky because I got a lot of time for myself, even during the working hours as well. Okay. So now what I was saying was like initial 2, 3 months or 4 months were like when I had to learn the project, how the project was going on. I had to learn the skill which I was implementing. So once I was pretty much comfortable with my project, I got a lot of time to actually think about my skills. Okay. So let's say if I am doing my job, okay, nobody does work for 9 hours continuously in office, right? But if you are in office, obviously it gets difficult to give time to some other skills during your working hours. Okay, you will be questioned. That's a logical thing. But that doesn't happen during work from home. So what I used to do was I used to segregate my time for my office work and my personal skills development. Right. So my day used to start with completing all the deliverables which I am supposed to do within the first half of the day. And once I am done with that, I am done with all my calls and meetings, and I know that the next half of the day, nobody is going to come to me with some other task or whatever. So that was the time when I used to utilize to learn SQL particularly because it needed a lot of hands-on practice during that time. So I focused my time out there. Now your question was like how you decided whether you want to go to data analysis or science or engineering, that thing. So obviously, before starting the practice, like I would suggest you guys as well who are listening to us. So before deciding, okay, what you want to do of in terms of skills, don't go by skills. First, think about what domain you want to enter in, right? Similarly, I did that as well. So again, I knew that I didn't know anything about IT. So I had to keep myself restricted कि भाई ज्यादा समुंदर में मत कूद जा, know your limits and perform accordingly. So I knew that if I will start initially only with everything Python, SQL, cloud, and all those databases and uh, all the Hive database, Hadoop, and everything, if I will go on, I won't understand a single thing. So so if I had to keep a hierarchy, data analysis is something at a very basic level. Then comes data engineering, and then comes data science. Okay. So data analyst, so a data scientist would be someone who knows data analysis, who knows data engineering as well. On top of that, he has the data science skills, right? So data analysis is something which only focus majorly upon analyzing the data with the help of SQL or Python, and then pulling the data and visualizing it on a visualization tool and just submitting the report to the client. So this is something which I felt that भाई ये मैं कर सकता हूँ. उसके ऊपर whatever was there was something going out of my mind in the initial level itself. तो तब मुझे तो समझ आ गया कि भाई डेटा एनालिसिस ही करना है. Rest of the things I can, you, or not only me, even those guys who are preparing right now, you guys can keep on doing it while you are on the job. There is no hard and fast rule ki you have to prepare everything initially only to get a job. Okay, you can keep on learning these things on the job, and you can eventually you won't even know that you have become a data engineer. You won't even know you have become a data scientist. But data analysis is the stepping stone of your data uh, journey.
Yes, getting your part and
Yeah.
understood. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one thing you mentioned is that you have practiced SQL a lot. So it would be very helpful for the viewers to know what are the resources that you have followed and what are the platforms that you have used to solve. So learning and understanding is one thing, and practicing SQL question is another thing. So how did you cope up with those things?
Okay, so regarding SQL, see, one of the thing which I tell all my friends or all whoever comes for me for an advice, so I always tell them that treat sequel like you treat your partner in the first week of relationship, not even first month. I am saying first week because that's how important it is. Okay. So if let's say if you are practicing 3 hours every day, give at least 2.5 hours or at least 2 hours every day to sequel. That's how important it is, right? And in terms of practicing, so I would say there are a hell lot of resources available for sequel. Okay. And just for some motivation to everyone out there, SQL is not at all difficult, guys. SQL is very easy. You can easily, you can at least understand all the concepts within a week only. It's not a big thing to do, which is something with coding. Okay. I didn't like coding, that's why I chose SQL. So there are many people out there who will think that okay, SQL में भी क्या हो जाएगा कुछ नहीं है उसमें ठीक है. So in terms of practice, in terms of knowing the theoretical concepts, there are hell lot of videos available on YouTube. You can easily go out there and learn all the concepts. Now coming to particularly hands-on practice and interview-based questions which are asked in the SQL, I have dependent a lot upon Ankit Bansal out there on YouTube. He has a channel named Namaste SQL. Okay. If you will go out there, he has explained all the important concepts of SQL which are always asked in the interview. Plus, he has given scenario based questions which are asked in the top product based companies, top MNCs, top service based companies. Okay. And on top of that, I will suggest everyone like what all topics which you should know in SQL. See, first of all, group by, having order by, these are the things which you should know very thoroughly. Because I will tell you a scenario. In SQL, you will be asked only one question. Okay. And in that question, everything will be used. A aggregate function will be used, a where will be used, a having will be used, a group by will be used, and an order by will be used. So on the basis of that one single question, you will be judged whether you know all these concepts or not. Okay. And then you will go to a higher level, such as advanced SQL concepts like window functions, how to use a rank, how to use a dense rank, how to perform CTs, how to perform subqueries. These are the things which will come way later. But as I told you initially, you should know the fundamentals having group by, order by. Okay, these are the pillars of SQL. So if you will know, if you will understand these concepts very well, easily you can crack it. Easily you can understand the other concepts as well. But again, I will again and again tell you, please rely on Ankit Bansal. Please rely on his channel Namaste SQL. Recently, he has started his own website also, namastesql.com, in which you can perform all the SQL queries. Yeah, HackerRank is there, but still I didn't find HackerRank that much useful during my journey. But yeah, if you are a complete beginner, it's very much useful to you. After that, you can even go to datalemur.com. I will ask Ayush to pin all these things in the description itself so that you guys can go there. So these are the two, three websites which has always helped me for my hands-on practice. And obviously, once you feel that you have crossed a certain level, you can always go to LeetCode. That's the father of everything. So yeah, so that's the complete SQL practice journey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite new to me also. Like I have also practiced SQL during my preparations, but there's so many things
Yeah.
I was not also aware of.
Although you developers would never, uh, I mean, value SQL guys that much, I know.
Yeah. So one thing is कि you asked told about the scenario based question. So if I compare it the data analyst role with a developer role, so whenever someone is preparing for a developer role, so usually the process takes like first online assessment, then one or two technical rounds, and mostly most product-based companies have technical rounds which consist of two questions, two DSA questions, and need to be solved in 1 hour. Then a managerial round. So this is mostly a typical entry level jobs for a software developer. So what's the scenario with the data analyst role? So it started with a OA, and how many rounds were there usually in all of the companies, and what are the questions, kind of questions? What is the time limit? How many scenario-based questions you are saying that are being asked? And is there something like you have to optimize it, and or you can be like, okay, it's working, it's giving the result, but it is not the best solution. So what are the these things in the analyst role? So can you please?
Yeah. So, regarding rounds and all, so yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much similar to the development roles as well, but here the things are different a bit in the sense that a lot of things are asked on the basis of how you will analyze the data. Okay. It's like data analysis interview doesn't focus directly on the skills. Okay, it focuses much more on the side that how you think as an analyst, because eventually you can pull your data, right? You can pull the data with all sort of skills. There is hell lot of resources out available there. Okay, but at last when you see the data, you have to think like an analyst, right? So you have to understand what this data is telling to me. Okay, so you, or usually interviews focus on that. So usually we also have 3 rounds itself. So the first round will be more on knowing what you know about the skills. Okay. It won't be that hardcore like you will be doing hands-on and stuff, but it will be more like they will try to know, okay, what you know in SQL, what you know in Python, or what you know in Power BI and all. So they will, it will be more like a theoretical. They will ask, okay, what is this, what is that, and all that stuff. Now the second round will be a lot more hands-on based. So like in my case, as I told you before as well, I was asked one SQL question in which everything was getting covered. Okay. So I was asked to do a hands-on code on that stuff. So they had asked me to write all the code, and I showed them. And every time you write the code, you have to, just like you guys do in development roles as well, you have to explain your complete code. Okay, you can't just simply write it and just send it to them. You have to completely write it. After that, let's say one of the, I will give you one scenario like CTs or subqueries are something which we use on a day-to-day basis in SQL queries. So that is one thing on which you are asked about optimizing your query. So once you write the query, they will ask, okay, like how much you can optimize it. Do you feel that this is the most optimized query or not? Now, again, this depends upon companies to companies. So the top product-based companies will definitely ask you to optimize it at the highest level because that's what the level of expectations they had. But again, coming to some service-based companies, or maybe they won't ask you that much. But again, you have to show your optimized level queries. So in that sense, they will ask you that how much you can optimize it and stuff. Coming to Python, again, same thing. If let's say you are using some list or tuple, then they will again ask you that whether is there anything more you can do it to optimize it and all. And these are the things which happens. Coming to Power BI as well. In Power BI, we use DAX measures. Okay. So in DAX also there are a lot of things like you can, should you use a calculated column or should you use a calculated measure here? So that is one thing which comes in Power BI. They will again ask you like, is it important to perform a chart or a bar chart or a line graph in that sense? So that is all things which they will ask you specifically in the second round itself. Third round will be more upon guesstimates. Like I will give you one example, like they will ask you how many people in India are using smartphones. Okay. So that will be one sort of question. Now, this has no correct answer, but this will test you how you think as an analyst, right? So these are the things, and last will be HR round for salary negotiation and stuff. So yeah, this is how mostly the data analysis interviews goes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let ask one thing. So like, how was your Uber process? So you told me that you were one of the few candidates who has been particularly hired for Uber. So how you applied, how you contacted HR, what was the initial things that HRs were like, you are from Infosys, you have 90 days of notice period, and you are from a testing background, then you are preparing for that. You have to explain everything. Then, how was your this whole journey from scheduling an interview to cracking the interview? So, can you just give us a brief about that?
Yeah, so this 90 days notice period, thanks for bringing this out because I guess every guy in a service-based company is feeling this. So, personally, I was very much lucky because my current project was coming to an end. So that was the time which I was too much sure that, okay, I will be switching. Okay. So I chose to stay on bench. And when you are on bench, you have an option to tell your manager that you want to get released as quickly as possible because you don't have any deliverables upon you. Okay. So that is the thing. So that was the thing which I conveyed to my HRs as well, to whomsoever I was getting a call from. So I told them that I am currently on bench and I can get released as soon as possible. So that kind of increased my chances to get to schedule to an interview. Okay. On top of that, so coming to the lateral entries, okay, I'm not talking about a fresher. I am since I was 2 years experience when I switched. So Naukri.com is one platform on which I was being called as a resource for a Uber as my client, not particularly as a Uber, but yeah, they wanted me to be there because I prepared my resume in a way that showed that I worked on data more, okay, instead of only testing, because you have to do it. Eventually nobody is going to question you if you know the skills, right? So that's how I did it. So again, I had around 4 rounds. So my first round was basically where they talked about all my theoretical knowledge about data, all my theoretical knowledge about SQL, Python, Linux in some case as well, and Power BI as well. Okay. Second round was particularly focused on hands-on skills. So they asked me to write the code, they asked me to show how I can do it. Third round was a managerial round where they tried to know what kind of business domain I was working upon. Okay, what was the business knowledge I gained and whether my data analysis skill has helped the business in some cases or not. Okay, and the third round and the fourth round was actually with the client, where the client digged into complete SQL onto advanced level, where I was asked like questions where I had to use everything lead, LAD functions as well, window functions as well, group by having, and everything. Maybe everything whatever SQL has, they asked me on that. On it went on for almost 1.5 hours. So that was the longest where I had to deal with the client. He asked me about everything, how we build the pipelines, what all sorts of data automation I have done, how has the SQL codes being written, what sort of optimization I have done on my level. So this is how everything had been for me. And obviously last round was HR round. So that was the whole process for me.
Yes, got it, got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. One more thing is like when you are switching from a service-based company to a product-based company, basically the salaries of service-based companies are quite low compared to the product-based companies. So when you are switching, do you get a percentage hike, or is there certain criteria which is like this is the minimum basic entry for a product-based company? So do you get to negotiate on that, or it's like you have a 2 year experience, we'll give you this percentage of hike as per your knowledge, as per your interviews, or it is like this is the bare minimum which we give, this is the entry level salary for this role in our company. So can you just give us a quick heads up regarding that?
Yeah. So you are definitely you are going right because the previous salary of your company depends upon how much hike you will be getting in the next company. This is something not entertained by us, but yeah, that is how the whole corporate runs. Okay. So considering in my scenario, obviously we were mass recruited, so salaries were comparatively very low in the terms of Infosys what was they were offering, and same hindered me in my process during my switch as well. Okay, so they will say that okay, on your salary we can give you, let's say, 50% hike or 100% hike. So they have certain criteria. They will tell you that this is the max you can give. So in that case, what you can do is you can go for offer shopping, which everyone does. Okay. So you can keep giving interviews to other companies. You can keep getting interviewed by them, and you can show that okay, this is the hike I am getting in my another company, which they are asking me to hire. So they will. So you have to offer me something beyond that. switching as an experienced person, this is the only way you can increase your salary when you can cross offer and you can tell them that, okay, this is much hike I am getting, so you can give me beyond that. And that's how you can come out of this low salary loop to a decent salary bracket. So yeah, this is the only thing.
Yes. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a like quite an interesting story of yours. So starting from a tier 3 college, we all started the same, and then to the
Yeah.
pharmacy branch. I guess there were very less people in your branch, so I guess, and then switching to the IT, Infosys, then preparing SQL by all yourself, and then going to such a good product-based company and working on what you are passionate about. That's a quite interesting and motivating story for all of us. Thanks a lot, DPBR.
So just a last note to all the data analysts, particularly freshers out there. गाइस फ्रेशर्स को जॉब्स नहीं मिलती डेटा एनालिसिस में इजीली। उसका सिर्फ एक ही रीजन है, दैट यू शुड नो द बिजनेस। ओके, अगेन एंड अगेन सेम थिंग, बिजनेस एक्सपीरियंस से ही आता है। Okay, that is the only thing freshers are not getting jobs so easily. But again, keep preparing, keep your SQL strong, keep your Python strong, and keep Power BI, learning the Power BI tool as well. These three skills will give you job. But again, you have to work hard, keep your LinkedIn game very strong, because LinkedIn has helped me a lot during my journey. I have actually talk to so many people because of a strong LinkedIn profile. Probably, if you guys have any issues, you can reach out to me. Ayush will ping my LinkedIn profile in the description. So, yeah, keep working hard, keep analyzing, keep smiling, and soon I would love to see your success stories as well on his channel only. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and thank you, Ayush, for inviting me as well.
Thank you, DPBR, for coming to the channel and